throw you out.
There we go.
You were almost replaced with a bench sitter.
Hey, I was over here early though. Does that count? In the afternoon? Thank you, that's fine.
Okay, everyone, the recording is on, so. The audience. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Village of Altamont ZBA meeting. Exits are behind us there and to the rear. It is September 27th. It is 7:05 p.m. For the record, both the audio and video portions of this meeting will be recorded. My name is Deborah Hext. I'm the ZBA chair. And starting with Danny, would every member please introduce themselves?
Danny Ramirez.
South of Song.
Laura Murphy.
Simon Litton.
Bob Freeman.
Barb Mofelder.
And James? James is our alternate. Also representing the village tonight are Gary Goss, our building inspector, and Jinder Handa, our planning board secretary. This is a preliminary pre-application meeting, therefore there will not be an opportunity for the public to speak. I don't see a public here other than you guys. But I do invite any village officials, if you have any questions or concerns, to come up and ask the applicant. Okay, with all that out of the way, the first topic on our agenda tonight is the pre-application meeting at the request of Troy Miller for a subdivision of property at tax map 37.14-3-5.1 into 11 building lots. Troy, do you want to, or your representative want to come up? You can probably pull that whiteboard over if you want. Talk about MacGyver.
Plastic vice grips.
And could you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Stephen Walrath. I'm a land surveyor. I live right here in the village. I've known Troy for quite a while. Okay, what Troy is proposing to do is he's proposing to create a subdivision of, I think we've got 11 lots. 11 lots, it's on 13 acres. According to the zoning, I think we can get like 24 lots, and that would include a new village highway going through it. What Troy wants to do, he doesn't want that much density on it, and what we're proposing to do is just the 11 lots here. Is that comes off? Okay, thanks. One thing we would need is down on Schoharie Plank Road. We've got 4 keyhole lots there that share approximately like 64 feet altogether. They each have 16 feet on Schoharie Plank Road. I know the zoning requirement is 30 feet wide for a keyhole lot. We went with the 16 feet. Obviously, that would require a variance. New York State requires 15 feet as a minimum on a public highway for a parcel in a subdivision. So that's essentially what we'd like to do is to narrow those down and have one common driveway just for the 4 lots coming off of Schoharie Plank Road. Up on Western Avenue here, we have lands which is Van Auken. I think that's new now. If you take a look at that, you can see how the property line is like 1/10 of a foot off of the southwest corner of it. And what, Troy has talked with the owner, and we're gonna slide that whole parcel 10 feet to give him 10 feet off the house instead of an inch and a quarter. And what that is going to do with we've got 3 keyhole lots up here above that. One of them is 22 feet shown on the map. That is gonna create an extra 10 feet, so that would be 32 feet. So all of those would conform with the village's requirement for the keyhole lots. There are no wetlands on the property. I did take a look at FEMA's flood map, and there's just a little small portion of it,
No,
which-
Go Harry Plank.
yeah, right along, actually Harry Plank, right along the edge of the woods right there. So obviously, this would get put on the map also, but I just took a look at that today, and I said,
Yeah.
okay, I'll just bring that in.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I looked at this too.
Okay.
Okay,
So I don't know, does anybody have any questions?
does anyone on the board want to, I know Gary, you have some questions regarding the keyhole lots, or?
I mean, Stephen just kind of pointed out what I was thinking there,
On Schoharie Plank or on Western?
on both with the access into the properties, because of them being, below the minimum width, they're gonna have to get a variance, area variance for those.
Do you have a mic over here or?
Can't.
Here, we've got an extra one. Do you want it?
No, that's not a mic,
No, it's
though.
okay, I can speak louder. Yeah, in our code, if it's below 30 feet, it's gonna be required to have an area variance for any of those lots.
If the ingress from the road is less than 30 feet?
Yeah. I didn't see any notes on the map explaining how the common driveway or access road would work for the 4 lots off of Schoharie Plank. How were you guys planning on, how would that road be maintained, or is it gonna be part of like a road use agreement, or?
There would be essentially cross easements coming up, probably, from Schoharie Plank Road, probably up to like where this intersection is of the 4 driveways that we just kind of shown. And so the 4 parcels would have cross easements to use the 64-foot wide strip. And then there would be a maintenance agreement for the driveway, from this portion here where they all meet out to Schoharie Plank Road. So that would be, the homeowners would be responsible for that, and there's nothing that the village is responsible for.
Is that just the ones off of Schoharie Plank, or does that include the ones off of Western?
It would be the same thing on Western Avenue. There would be an easement, they'd have cross easements, the right to use the common driveway, run utilities in there, and, just be able to get in and out. And then again, a maintenance agreement for the driveway maintenance.
That's one thing that, going forward, we would need shown on the
Yes,
plan.
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Would you mind just changing that? I can't see anything. Thank you, or, thank you.
You're welcome. And there's just a couple other things. Larry Adams, who is here tonight, he lives on Schoharie Plank Road here. He's got like a little shed and a flower bed across the line there. And Troy has talked with Larry, and Troy is just going to convey him a small piece there just to alleviate the encroachment.
A small piece of
A small piece, right here on the map.
property?
Yeah, a small
I
piece
see
of
it.
property would be adjoined to Larry's property.
Larry, are there any concerns from Public Works?
I don't believe so, that is not indicated in.
I know and Gary, you spoke with him. I know that Paul Miller had some concerns about ingress and egress for emergency vehicles and the ability to turn around in these condensed driveways.
Any turnaround or width of the road, that would be designed in conformance with the New York State Fire Code. I know it's like, I can't remember, Ro, do you know this? Like how far? Like 500 feet. If it's longer than 500 feet, you'd have to put like a little bump out so you could get two-way traffic in there, you know, for an emergency vehicle and whatnot. But then any kind of like turnaround here or something, that would have to be designed so, you know, a fire truck could get in there and turn around and be able to come out.
Right, and yeah, that, you know, that's why we're having, it's a
Yep.
big part about this meeting,
Uh-huh.
is these are the things that need to be,
Yeah.
you know, shown, and so that then we can look at it again and say, okay, yep,
Mm-hmm.
that works, that doesn't. Okay, so for the restrictions and the easements, that'll be shown on the plat as well?
Yes, that would be shown on the plat, would provide legal descriptions of each of the lots and the easements, and then we could get wording put together for the driveway maintenance agreement
Okay,
that you could review and make sure, you know, it works.
and any, you know, any agreements that you have made for, like Larry and the other neighbor? that
Yes,
would
they
have
will
to
be shown on the
too?
map,
Okay,
too.
all right.
Yeah, it
Does
was like,
anyone else have anything? I mean, I know there's a couple more things, but,
Yeah, I do. This is a zoned R15,
yes,
am I correct?
yes.
And what does that mean?
It means a minimum square footage of 15,000 square feet per building lot.
And there are other zoning sections in the village, I understand. There's a 20 and a 40.
and there's an R10.
Yes,
And an
yeah, and then
R10,
there's like the
yeah.
business district, and I think like Altamont Boulevard, there's an industrial zone.
Yes, yes. So, according to the village code, says the purposes of the residential districts are to maintain and promote suitable moderate to high-density living environments and to protect and stabilize the residential character of the district, along with compatible non-residential uses. So I take that to mean that when these districts were set up, they intended them to have like not only a minimum size, but some kind of a maximum size as well. Am I reading that incorrectly?
I don't believe there's any maximum.
Yeah.
There isn't
Lot
stated, but
size.
what,
If
the
you look on the
reason,
use schedule, I believe there is.
yes, but the reason why we have these zones is to maintain and promote a suitable moderate to high-density living environments. So when I look at this, the other homes on this plat here have an average lot size of 23,000 square feet, but the 8 lots in the center have an average size of 63,940 square feet. They're very much larger than the other R15 lots on that plat. So I'm wondering, is this a suitable development for R15?
I just want to look at the use schedule and get the exact.
That's paragraph
Yeah,
355-11.
no, I want to look at our use schedule.
I mean, it would seem that these would go in an R40 zone.
That is our use schedule.
Well, this is rated at an R15, and hence, you know, the minimum lot.
Right,
There
it's
is no
15.
maximum.
Yes,
Right.
yeah, I
So
realize that.
there is a maximum if you,
But,
can find our use schedule.
but according to the text of the village law, what we're trying to do is promote what does it say, moderate to high-density living.
So in other words, more homes in this?
Yeah,
So you're thinking we want more homes there?
To split up the larger lots?
yeah.
Because earlier he meant, Walter had mentioned that they could have built X number of homes, 20-something if I recall, but they decided
Right.
not to.
Yeah, they decided, yeah, this is what they decided to do.
You know, I think, you know, I understand, I hear what you're saying, but I think we also have to look at traffic and the amount of traffic that additional homes would add to what is now dead-end street.
Sure.
And, you know, a small village. You know, I think, I don't want to speak for him, but, you know, I think that's one reason why he tried to go with a smaller subdivision.
I'd like to add, I think that also adding more homes in there, more maintenance for the streets. Again, when you're talking about the fire department, Paul wants to be able to get in and get out if there's an emergency. It would be a lot easier if it was not so dense. And then again, looking at the public works, I mean, can they support that much more
Water, sewer.
water, sewer, and so on?
Yeah, I'd like to, I have an aerial photo here of it laid out, and you can see where the driveways and the houses are. And as you look at it, it's like Marion Court is over here, and you can just see how large the lots are. Even like up here, and then as you go up Gun Club Road, they're smaller, but they're still much more than 15,000 square feet. So this is blending into the area of where the parcel is. You know, and it's also what you brought up. It's like, yes, we could put a road through here and put like 24 houses in here. And, you know, it's going to create a village highway, which, you know, would obviously take maintenance. And the difference is essentially we're limiting this to 11 or 12 houses as opposed to 24. So the difference here is 12.
And you also mentioned that FEMA, now, when FEMA claims it's a flood zone, I mean, has it flooded back there? I mean, just,
No, the flood zone.
but they're just saying because there's a creek back there that.
Yeah, because there's a
Okay.
creek along Schoharie Plank, they just have the flood zone here.
then
and
you're just pushing
And
more
the flood
houses.
zone just kind of like comes through here and just
Yeah.
goes along like this.
But it
and
never
then-
really ever created
Right,
an issue, they
yeah.
just call it, okay.
Yeah,
Well, on the other side of West Schoharie Plank, it's caused issues, but that's beside the stream zone.
Yeah.
You know, so your concern is,
My concern is that we're building these very large lots in an area that I think the village intended to have denser development in.
I have not heard that. That doesn't mean it's not true. but
Well,
that's-
I'm just reading that from the text of 355-11. If they wanted, if the village had wanted this to have been larger lot size, then why isn't that in R40?
Well, I mean, larger lot size, well, that would mean the minimum would be 40,000 square feet, which in this size, what, 13 acres, you said?
yes.
I mean, I can't do the math that quickly in my head, but that would probably have even less homes than what's being proposed here.
Well, the average lot size of these eight properties is 63,940 square feet.
But if you have an R40, your minimum lot size is 40,000. So
That's bigger,
what's bigger?
what these are. What the proposal is.
I don't understand. I think they would.
63,000 is bigger than 40,000.
No, I know that, but 40,000 is the minimum lot size. So they would be able to, you'd have to do the math. How many 40,000 square feet homes can fit into 13 acres, you know what I mean? So if you had 40,000 square feet as your minimum lot size, potentially, you could go up to 3 acres per lot, 4 acres per lot. And then you'd have probably less amount of homes. I mean, I don't know that for sure. I can't do math in my head like that. It's been too long.
Well,
I
if
hear
it
what you're
was
saying.
zoned R40, we would have 8 or 9 houses.
Exactly.
That would fit like this. But it's not R40, it's R15, that's what it is.
Yeah,
And right now, we have 3 lots along Western Avenue that are between 15 and 20,000 square feet.
So you'd have 8 or 9 if it was zoned R40. You have 11 being that it's zoned R15. So that is giving you more of a development.
yeah, the lots along Western are really in compliance with, you know, the notion of an R15 development.
Gary, do you have the use schedule handy?
Which,
What do you need?
The use schedule, I just can't. It must have fallen, my little thingy must have fallen
What
off.
is it, 355?
No, it's just in the back of it. Oh, you don't even have the back of it. Does anybody have access to the internet?
I know. I'm looking for it.
Gary's looking.
Is this the chart you want?
Yes. Thank you, Danny. Takes a village. So R15, minimum lot size is 40,000.
no,
I'm sorry, R15, minimum lot size is 40,000.
no,
Yes. Yes.
15,
15
15 per lot, 15K
for
per lot.
R15.
Minimum,
R15.
minimum,
minimum
sorry,
is
yes,
15.
yes, sorry. So 20,000 for two-family, but that's not a, I thought it said maximum lot size. Oh, no, maximum front setback.
Yeah, there's a minimum and a maximum front yard
Yeah,
setback.
yeah. Minimum front yard setback is 30, minimum
20,
front
20.
yard. Maximum front, God, maximum front setback is 30, minimum is 20, and then 15 for sides, and 30 for rear.
Well, the point I want to, the point that I'm hung up on is that we have in the code an R40. So why do we have an R40? We have an R40 so that we can have large lot sizes.
Okay,
Why not just have one zone? You can put anything you want in that zone. But the village decided to have different zones. So it would seem that they wanted the R15 for smaller lot sizes, R20 for bigger ones, and R40 for ones this size.
I don't know what to say, Simon.
Yeah.
So you want us to do more than twice what we're doing?
I think what this means is that the village wanted R15 to have a higher density than what you're proposing.
Smaller lots and more of them,
No,
more homes, but that's
You
going to
can't-
cause the problems we discussed.
That's going to cause other problems.
Right, right.
Yeah.
you can't do smaller lots because there's a minimum.
Not, well, I
Well,
guess
you
not
can
smaller
do
than
15,000 square feet, that's the minimum
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
in the zoning requirements,
Yeah.
and
Where
this
there's no
is meeting the
maximum.
minimum requirements.
right.
But I think there's a logical inconsistency here.
Well, what would you define the word moderate to mean?
Well, the village has, there is what's the lowest, what's the smallest?
R10.
So we have an R10, an R15, an R20, and an R40. So I think what they mean by, high to moderate density is R10 to R15, maybe R22, I don't know. But R40 is like the biggest size that they speak of.
Okay.
So it would seem that what they want here is higher density. That might not be possible, given the constraints of, of getting vehicles in or maintaining the roads.
I think, just my opinion, I hear everything that you're saying. I think R40 is probably, before Altamont was developed to the point it's developed, but I think we also have to look at it as an R15 and how many more houses do we want to add to this, what is already a nice, quiet, dead-end street? Do we really want to add that much more traffic and that many more houses? And it just, I think we're going to hear from these neighbors anyway.
Yeah,
So,
in Deborah's, I know what you're saying, but yeah, I think Mr. Miller has this set up, whereas, you've got neighbors all around, and I don't think that they're gonna wanna have, and that, I can't speak for the neighbors, I'm just saying, if I had one of these houses, you got 4 houses back there, and you got a nice plots on each one of them, and you're not gonna have, you got 4 families, and that's it, you don't have 10, 20. And I think that's, not speaking for you, but I think that's what you were trying to do or whatever, but speaking for myself, I think, yeah, I wouldn't want any more back there.
Yeah, I'd like to elaborate on what you're talking about, because if you look at the 4 lots coming off of Schoharie Plank Road, look at the existing houses on both sides. The one on the left is 5.6 feet from the property line. The one on the right is 10.5 or something. That's how close a road would be to those 2 houses coming off of Schoharie Plank, as opposed to having one common driveway going up the center of the 64-foot wide strip.
And quite frankly, I've lived here all my life, and I knew over here in Western all that was there. I didn't realize that was
You didn't know?
right there
Yeah.
off of Schoharie. I thought, actually, these people owned, because I thought the creek cut a lot more closer than that.
Yeah,
I used to
'cause-
live on Marion Court, so
Yeah.
I knew that was back there. And, I know for a fact that this property's been for sale for a long time. And, I don't know if there's any legitimate or non-legitimate reason for the districts. But, again, my opinion is, I think the lesser homes here will be the less impact on the existing neighbors.
Oh, of course.
And more likely,
Of
the
course.
neighbors that are there will probably go along with what you got going on, too.
What is everybody else's opinion?
I agree too, because Troy's right behind me, and what he did with that first development that he did, it's perfect. Okay? And I would honestly, truthfully, and I'm only speaking for myself, is that I would run, and nothing against you, Simon, either, is I don't know if I would want to go cram that in there as well as just leave that as is. I mean, it's quiet. If you go ahead and disrupt everything, you're gonna have more homes in there, and then you're gonna have more issues, I think, personally, my opinion.
And
I'm just looking through 355-7 and A where it gives the minimums. I don't see anything that indicates that there's a maximum.
No.
And
Yeah, no.
so then I'm not sure where we would have any authority to dictate.
What they can or can't
Yeah,
build there. Yeah, as long as it meets code, which this does, if the lot sizes didn't meet our code, then we would have something to say. Then they'd have to have a variance. But because what they're doing here meets the code as it's defined in R15, We can suggest, we can ask. We can't mandate it.
Okay, and point taken, but also a number of years ago, there was the idea of open space. When you're building on a lot, let's just say you have 5 acres, that you put all the homes on one side, and so you can have a large open space as opposed to 5 homes on, one on an acre per se. And driveway, impervious material, et cetera. But point taken, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Laura, you have anything? I mean, you're the real estate agent.
Yeah, I mean, I'd much rather have 4 big lots behind me than have, divvied this up and all be 15 to 20,000. That would cause, I think just, I would rather have 4, and I'm sure they're gonna be beautiful homes, with more acreage behind me. I mean, it's going to lessen the issues with the traffic, it's going to lessen the issues with the water, sewer, and the fire department. And frankly, I'm just purely selfishly, if I live here and I agree to this, you're going to be surrounded by some pretty impeccably maintained properties. I also live right on Whipple, so Boson Kill, I see how those houses are maintained. And there's never been an issue. They're never anything but, spotless. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, we're kind of diverting from, the preliminary, but it's good to get all this out in the open, and I want to have everybody input on this. Barb?
I agree, but I would, if I was living, if I was living along Western, to have, 15 more houses behind me, I'd probably move.
Maybe you can move to one of the new
I need a big
houses.
yard, I know, hey,
Yeah, there
that's,
you go. got a
yeah.
choice, there you go.
So, no, I agree. I don't see a problem with this, with the R15 and the 4 lots, I think.
And one other thing, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we talked about behind the properties on Schoharie Plank Road, doing like a 25-foot buffer, like a no-cut zone, so it would grow up and then,
Natural barrier.
a natural
berm or
barrier, and
something?
then, the people in the new houses wouldn't be looking in the backyards of everybody on Schoharie Plank, or, vice versa.
You wouldn't really have to even do a berm, you could just let the trees grow.
Just let it
plant
grow
whatever,
up.
Just let it grow
Yeah.
up and it'll thicken up nice.
No, we
Yeah.
should be thinking about that, though, to minimize, the best thing that would minimize the impact on the existing neighbors and what we
Yeah.
would like to see done. I like the fact that you're already thinking about that. That's-
Yeah, we've talked about it, we're trying to think, what's the minimal impact we can do here with the property.
Okay. Now, one thing that we as a board would require is an escrow for our engineer
Yes.
to look at everything.
Yes,
And perhaps legal counsel, depending on how involved this gets and what,
yes,
once the neighbors start coming and things. And normally, we ask for $1,500 in escrow for the engineer. So,
yeah, because I think typically, once, you get past the concept stage, then you start getting into preliminary design, you submit all the engineering plans, and then the village's designated engineer can look at it and say, okay, this is how much it's gonna cost me to review this. And then you write a letter and say, we need X amount of dollars in escrow for the review.
yeah.
I think.
Now, are there any plans, Schoharie Plank West, that road is pretty beat. Are there any plans to improve that road,
No.
Larry?
That's just something for Jeff. I don't think that's anything they're responsible for, to be honest.
No, that'll all come out in the traffic study, I believe.
Yeah, we're adding four new houses on Schoharie Plank Road. But I'm sure that would come up, like you said, with the traffic and, and Jeff's input and the engineer's input also.
There's water on that side, right? Sewer? Okay, looking at my notes here. Does anybody else on the board have any questions?
You want me to run down my notes?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, boy, we're gonna hear a
Well,
while.
some of them have already been mentioned and brought up, okay? One of my, early on was, because of the common driveway, would that be in an agreement with homeowners association, with those homeowners it may be? Emergency vehicle turnaround, or that driveway that I calculated is about 12 and a half feet wide.
Which one, Danny?
The common driveways going
Off of
to the
Schoharie,
spiral,
off of Schoharie Plain?
as well as Western.
Oh, you mean just scaling it on the map?
Yeah. Only because if you have a fire truck,
Yeah, I mean, it could be 16 feet wide. I don't know right now. I'm
two
not,
emergency vehicles passing each other.
Yes.
Say an
Yeah, it'd have to
ambulance
be 2 lanes.
having to leave the site, won't be able to get past another vehicle.
Right,
Might be
right.
blocking it, and then take a snow load somewhere that, if it's not cleared properly.
Mm-hmm.
So, would be any objections, or consider making that wider. I have notes on vegetation disturbance in areas that are not gonna be disturbed under construction. Okay, and you mentioned about, building a buffer, which is nice, adding in addition to. How about fire hydrants? I have no idea, like if, the hydrant is in the street, if the hydrant's in the street, the length of the fire hose, because off of Western Avenue, you're looking at 450 feet from the street to get to the house, let alone wherever the fire hydrant might be. Is that a consideration or something that fire department might think about, that they want something remotely in and on the property?
Well, I don't know, it would be something that we would consider, but I think it would definitely be something that, our fire department would require, and maybe our fire inspector, I don't know.
I mean, since a water main has to go up that way just the same,
It's a good idea.
to,
Yeah.
Yeah,
just for safety.
yeah, I
security.
think the New York State Fire Code, if you're under 500 feet, it doesn't require like a pull-off or something. Is that how it works, Ro? And so we're under 500 feet of length from like a public highway to the house.
To the furthest house, yeah.
Yeah. So this would conform with the New York State Fire Code requirements because it's under 500 feet in length from the road to the houses.
Yeah.
but how far is it from an existing fire hydrant? I mean, I know we don't know that, but, I mean, because, is it,
Well, we'll certainly have all that
yeah, okay. Yeah, that's all gotta be, obviously. I don't see it on
What's the
this.
hydrant?
Yeah,
They're on here. One's,
Yeah, right to the right
I
of
see.
the common driveways there, there's a fire
Oh, yeah,
hydrant
okay,
right
okay, yeah, all
there,
right.
right in front of Johnson's property.
Oh, Deb Johnson's property?
And then almost like right across the Schoharie Plank Road, you'll see a circle with an S in it, that's a sanitary manhole. So the water and sewer are essentially right there.
Oh, yeah, here's one, yeah, there's one.
Oh, yeah, hydrant with water valves, okay.
Is there one up here?
there's
Yes.
one.
Yeah, there's one here.
Where's the fire hydrant of
Across from lot
Johnson's?
11, there's a hydrant across the street.
Right there.
Oh, okay,
water
there's
valve
another
and there's
scribble
a
there.
hydrant
Okay,
there.
got it, thank you.
Anyway, so,
Okay.
just a note that, considering that distance to run hoses and bumper trucks. And then, yeah, you mentioned earlier, Mr. Walworth, about the variances that you'll need on the garage on lot 9, the wood frame home on the existing property. Let me throw this out there. On lot number 4 that you have off of Western Avenue, the one with its own driveway,
Yes.
would you consider not going for those variances on that house and making that property, right, and bringing that driveway up and joining it to the other common driveway behind the home. Because you.
Yeah, I know what, I know what you're talking about. I did look at that, and it was, the issue with that is it requires another frontage over here.
Gotcha.
So then it would just, it would squeeze those four, and then it would require, variances for the frontage.
Something to consider. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And then on the other two homes, obviously, you mentioned before, one has 5 and one has 10-foot setbacks off the side. And anything considering sidewalks? I know there's sidewalks across the street.
I've got that too. Yeah, sidewalks, there's sidewalks that, we require now. So you can either put an escrow in for sidewalks at some given time. There's also now a parks fee that is charged per lot, and it's $1,500 per lot. What we have done in the past is, as you build the lots and as you get the building permit for the houses, that's when you pay the parks fee on that. So that, you're not gonna have that lump sum. But that's 315.28 in our code, and then 315.29 mentions sidewalks and streetscape, and that, if you want to know where to find that in our code.
Yeah, I've looked at that. Sidewalks in that, that pertains to if you're creating a public highway.
But you're running along a public highway.
Where would you propose the sidewalk?
Well, and see, that's the other question, is if,
I mean, the only place we're running along a public highway is the frontages on Western and the 64 feet over here. I think with the sidewalks, it's like if you put a road through here, a new highway, they would want sidewalks along the new road within the public highway.
we could, it really is at the discretion of the board. We could require sidewalks, even if it was on West Cohary Plank.
Okay.
Aren't there sidewalks on the opposite side on
Western Avenue.
Western?
Yes, there are.
Yeah, there are on the west, on the western side of Western.
Yep.
What they could do too is you could put a crosswalk there. I mean, that would lead to problems if you don't have sidewalks on that side.
Have you tried to walk on the streets in
Yeah, no.
Altamont and go to a crosswalk? Nobody stops.
No.
Well, at times
Just,
what the
just,
village is.
FYI, something that we might
Yep,
require.
oh, yeah, uh-huh.
At times, what the village does is, that money in escrow with the intent, because there's a code, might build that sidewalk somewhere else or extend the sidewalk somewhere else, and not necessarily in front of
Okay.
the properties.
That's what I was saying, not necessarily do it right in front of the properties. That was something, though, that Allison was going to look into, to be sure that we can do that.
Okay.
Because it would be nice to try to get some of these sidewalks connected. We seem to have them, here and there throughout the village, and, but, if it's not the right thing to do, it's not the right thing to do.
I think though, that if, like on Western, they're on the other side.
Right.
And then, because basically you've only got the entrances coming in and out of the two keyholes. So I think a crosswalk for sure. But I don't know about an actual sidewalk.
No.
And that's only because it's on the other side.
Right,
I don't-
right,
But
yeah.
definitely something that would designate someone coming out of that neighborhood and going to the sidewalk, a crosswalk, and then the signage.
Now, sight and distance, coming out, especially the ones onto Western, coming out.
It's more than adequate, I can guarantee that already.
I have a question. I've been approached by a couple of people that live on Schoharie Plank about the flooding near the bridge and
The bridge to Euclid,
Not Euclid, yeah, the end of Euclid.
that bridge?
Right, that bridge,
The footbridge? okay.
yes. And they had concerns about with the construction of a road, would that,
That would all be addressed when, you know, we get the engineer involved and he starts doing the grading plan and addressing drainage, you know, and, you know, how are you gonna control it, like going off of the site?
right, right. It just, it had been, people have appeared at my house.
I know. You know, if you ever, Barb, if you ever feel uncomfortable answering any of those questions,
Oh, no, I don't, yeah, oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay,
oh, no, I
yeah,
know.
just, you know,
Yep, yep.
don't,
I don't know. We haven't
right,
had the-
don't send them
Yeah.
to me.
Oh, I know, yeah.
I was gonna say call Simon.
I'll tell them if they have any questions, they
There
can
you
come to
go.
the meeting.
Yeah.
But, you know, so, I don't know if anybody's taking notes as to what we're going to require, you know, going
Yes.
forward to be depicted on the preliminary plat. Do you have any other questions? Simon, you're usually the flood guy.
No, I mean, I looked at, but, you know, I looked at this already. It's very minimal incursion there.
And would your engineer show on even the preliminary plat that there are no wetlands? Would there be something
Yes.
that would say
Yes.
that it has been
Mm-hmm,
looked at, and there are?
yes.
Okay, nobody has anything else? With the, Gary?
Yeah, I just have a couple more quick things. If you look in our code in section 355-17, the zoning law provides that there shall be no more than 2 access points into a major subdivision.
Yeah.
So if you look at the map here, lots 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all served by those 2 ingress and egress points. However, 4, 9, 10, and 11 have individual access from the public street, but they're part of the same major subdivision. So because of that, if you look further down in the code, the subdivision regulations state that lots shall not in general derive access exclusively from a major street. Where driveway access from a major street may be necessary for several adjoining lots, the zoning board of appeals may require such that lots be served by a combined access drive in order to limit possible traffic hazards on the street. That's in 315-27. So it is within the board's authority to require a common access drive if you feel that those 4 lots on Western Avenue will cause an issue with traffic.
Well, that was one of my reasons, and thank you, I had that in my notes and totally forgot it, about site. You know, whether or not coming out of those driveways, would it not only block that driveway, but would it interfere with the site of the existing homes coming out there anywhere? But, what do you think, Gary?
I mean, it looks like on lot 11 here, it comes out on that little road that cuts over
The
from
little,
Schoharie
the
Pike.
little Y there, yeah.
But I don't think that's an issue, really. You know, the other ones, I think there's enough viewing room, and it's not like that corner is a real tight turn that you can't see far enough away. And it's not like the speed limit's 55 miles an hour through there.
Yeah, it's 30 miles an hour. I'm not sure what the distance requirement is for site distance, but I know we meet it with all the driveways.
Yeah, I was gonna mention, Gary, because the speed limit in the village is 30, I don't think that would be a major impact.
Right.
Okay, to consider with the additional cuts into the highway. You know, if it were 45 or better, it's something to consider.
Could you, if you could, on the preliminary plat, when you come back before us, is there a way you could show the site distance?
Yes.
just so that we have something that,
Yep.
you know, it was something that we looked at, that we explored, and because of the way the site distance is, you know, the board decided it wouldn't be required to have different access routes.
Yeah, well, no, we can provide that, because Western Avenue, it's a state highway.
It is, yes.
And that's one of the things that they would require us to give them for a curb cut approval.
Now, Western Avenue is serviced by the town, the village though, right, Gary? Do we plow Western? We don't. The state does?
Yeah, that's town, or
It's a
County.
state highway,
County. State.
State Route 397.
So that's, we're gonna have to
Did-
make sure we,
Touch state.
with the state, the county, and the town.
Touch states.
The other thing I was gonna mention to the board is related to the fire hydrants that you talked about, maybe bringing them off of the street. Without having the code in front of me, I know there's a lot of references in there that there's, like, if that could be something that could be required by the authority having jurisdiction, which would be me and Paul together. That could be something that could be required, it depends. I don't have the code in front of me to know that or not.
So are you saying to put one, like, say for instance, Western Avenue, 1, 2, 3, 4, have one like in the up through there in the cul-de-sac or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah.
Or just on,
Yeah, like a certain number of feet off of the road.
to be able to,
Right there
it-
where it's really
yep,
close to
yep,
the houses,
yep.
right? I'm sure the insurance carriers will appreciate that too.
Hey Larry?
Well, the
what
homeowners
size
will
main is
appreciate
that
it
in
too.
there?
6 inch.
I think, Harry Plank, didn't you guys just replace the water main going down through there last year when there was a break?
Oh, right.
Yeah, yeah.
I know there was some work.
So that's 6 inch.
So that's something we could talk to Paul about, or you could talk to Paul about, whether or not, looking at it. Get Chuck in,
Because I
right?
know that, say, in the streets, not private property, the fire hydrants are a certain distance away. Is it I believe that 500 foot figure?
I'm not sure how far they have the space apart, I'm not sure.
Did you guys just have a sidebar?
Troy just brought something up, which this is unusual because the zoning board and the planning board is the same board. The variance is required for the width of the keyhole lots. Would we need to apply for the variances first? Generally, all municipalities are different, but generally you need to get the variance approved before you go to the planning board. And obviously before you start spending a lot of money designing a project and whatnot, because if you're not gonna get a variance for it, then you're not gonna pursue it, I guess I'll say, for lack of a better word.
Well, this is your lucky year because we are both 1 and 4, planning and zoning.
I know. So I guess our question is, this is the pre-concept hearing. So we have put in an application. I guess, I'm assuming we need to put an application in for the variances. And then once we have those, then we can put the application or proceed with the preliminary plans for the subdivision.
Yeah, and I mean, we could probably do that in one meeting. That you would put the application in for the variances, put the application in for the subdivision.
Okay.
And then come back before us. The one thing that I will tell you for a variance is the first thing that you have to prove is that it's not a self-created hardship, and that there's no other way to do this than to ask for a variance. Just keep that
Yep.
in the back of your mind.
I forgot what we did on Main Street for you. If you did the variances first and then the application.
Well, that
I
was
can't-
because it was two different boards at the time.
Yep.
Right.
Now we are
No.
streamlined.
Yeah.
All happens now.
Oh, boy. just wanted to ask Troy, I know you have the wood frame house that Beth rents. Are you going to keep that? Are you going, oh, okay. All righty.
It's my shoe, sorry.
Sneaker.
Okay, HOA access, private road maintenance, keyhole lots. Once, we see the application, once we see the preliminary plat, we are, since it's a major subdivision, and since we have the right to do this, and since I think that there's going to be a lot of neighbor involvement, I think we will require a full seeker.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get our i's dotted and our t's crossed, and make sure that we're answering all the questions that may or may not concern neighbors.
Yep.
Okay.
When would we have our public comment?
Go ahead, Barbara.
When would that be scheduled?
The only time the public can officially comment is at the public hearing, which
Right.
is going to be a couple meetings away.
Okay.
If at the when they come back before us with the preliminary plat and answering any other questions that they need to put on based on tonight, if I thought it would benefit the applicant and us to not have to keep coming back, I might allow a question or two. That's my prerogative. If it's too, crowded or too,
Right.
whatever, I probably would not do that.
Right.
I'd rather get the
That's
questions
smart.
out there, if there's only one or two, and instead of having it at the public hearing, and then
Exactly.
they have to come back,
Yeah.
you know? But yeah, officially, public comment cannot be done until the,
All right, well, we need an agreement between Larry N. and Catherine T. Adams with that garden and shed that's back there. That lot thing is going to be configuration.
We're
change.
gonna revise it and show that as being combined with the lands of Adams. So right
Good.
now, it's shown just
Yeah.
kind of like as part of a lot. We're gonna draw a line there someplace and say that's that's not part of a lot, that's just a piece, that it's like a lot line amendment, to move the line,
But should
take,
this go through, it would have to go public record, so
oh yeah, it'll be on the plan.
that'll
Yeah.
require a lot line adjustment.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot line adjustment there, and then there's also gonna be a lot line adjustment up here where the house is only like an inch away from the line. We're gonna move the whole thing 10 feet. So that's gonna be a lot line adjustment also. So there'll be 2 lot line adjustments or amendments,
Thank you.
as well as the subdivision. It'll all be it'll all be together. One question on the full EAF. Do you need that at application for the variances?
It probably wouldn't hurt if you can do it by then. It would probably be to your benefit, because if we don't have it, then we're gonna have to have another meeting.
Right.
To review the seeker, so, yeah.
Yeah, because typically with applications, you require, at least a short
Right,
EAF.
right.
But it's your choice if you want to require the full. So that's why I asked the question, because I'm just trying to figure out scheduling.
Yeah, I would think that, again, it would be your benefit and our benefit to have you do a short form EAF and then come back again with the long form EAF, when we know, in the end, we're gonna want the long form.
Right, you're going to want the
Yeah.
long form
Right,
anyway,
right,
yes. Okay.
All right, I think that's all I have. Gary, anyone else have any other questions, concerns? Because conceptually, we can make a motion to approve the concept plan and schedule our next meeting if you think you would be ready by the end of, what month is it, September, at the end of October?
We'll see.
Well, I mean, yeah, we can, you know,
I already know what Troy's gonna tell me.
Have you guys talked to the neighbors along Schoharie Plank? Is their temperature warm on this? or-
I talked to one woman, the one on the left side of the driveway coming off of Schoharie Plank. The house is 5.6 feet off the line. And that was a year and a half ago when I was doing the surveying out there. But, you know, she was like, you know, oh, if I'm only gonna look at 3 or 4 houses, I'd rather do that than look in somebody else's backyard.
yeah.
And also, you know, have the road so close to her house, because like I said, I just, you know, I just don't like the idea of putting a road, clearing that out, have a 60-foot wide right-of-way, you know, and have a road, you know, literally 20 feet from the house. You know, if you got 30 feet of pavement, you got 15 feet left to the right-of-way, you got 5 to the house. And that's, you know, less than like me to you, going by the house.
I have talked to probably half of them. They're talking.
This is evergreens. He was talking about, you know, allowing this here to grow up so people have a little bit more privacy, wooded stuff.
Some concerns and hopefully some property, so I worked to deal out with him. Just like I did on Bozenkill, we created a lot of no-cut zone areas that have, I mean, I think it's been very minimal disturbance from there.
Basically, it's just, like you said, it's just it's a natural buffer in between there, and you throw them a little property, and, you know, they'll have their privacy on both sides.
What is, I was going to ask about this buffer. I know driving down Western, you see the big field, but are there a lot of bushes behind?
Some have a lot and some don't have much.
Okay,
So my idea of a buffer is that it's a no-cut zone, basically, and that, you know,
You let it go naturally.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
Let it
and
grow.
then whoever we sell the house to,
can do
they
whatever
can
they
put
want.
in trees.
Right.
And then whatever they put in can never be cut, and
Yep,
it just kind of happens, but.
oh, okay,
Yeah, there'll be a
That makes
deed
sense.
restriction
Yeah.
in there,
yeah,
you know, that it is kind of like, you know, a no-cut zone, or
Right.
you can
That's a
plant
good
stuff,
idea.
let it grow up, leave it alone.
yep.
I mean, that'll, you know, anything like that, as far as disturbance and minimal invasive, you know, into the existing neighborhood, we can review all that. But, you know, I think it's definitely something that we should keep in the back of our minds and make sure that, you know, we're serving the existing community.
Yeah, right.
So will they have a planting schedule?
No.
A planting schedule?
No.
What do you mean?
In other words, a lay of the land, if they're gonna have plantings.
Well, they'll have a
along the
grading
driveway,
plan,
Buffer.
Yeah,
anything
and I think,
a landscaping plan.
we'll have like an erosion and sediment control plan, limits of disturbance, you know, so you can physically see
Yeah.
how much is gonna be disturbed, like around the house, you know, because, you know, people are gonna have a house, they're gonna have a yard, and then, you know, there's gonna be like, you know, behind Scary Plank Road, there'll be an area there, whether it's, you know, conservation area or no cut, you know, whatever we call it, that'll all be shown on there.
That'll be shown on the
Yeah.
landscaping part or what. Now, is
Yeah,
there a
because it's
sweat-
like, you know, coming down here, there's an existing tree line there, and we purposely put the rear of the lot lines right along that tree line, so it can stay there,
Yep.
and it doesn't get taken out.
Now, what about a SWEP, stormwater prevention plan?
That goes on how much acreage we disturb? Do you know that, Ro? Above 10 acres? 5. Yeah, I think if the limits of disturbance is over 5 acres, then it would require a SWIP.
And
But
this is 13, or you're saying?
it's 13, but it depends on your limits of disturbance, you know, we're not gonna, if you build all the houses, you're not gonna disturb the entire thing. You know, obviously, you're gonna build the driveways here, and then the house, and there's gonna be like a box around the house that would be disturbed area during the construction of it. And it's just a question of, you know, figuring that out, how much area you need around the house, and what does it add up to?
Larry, could you check with Jeff on that and just make sure that, thank you.
What about lighting?
Oh, good question.
Lighting?
Yeah.
Street lighting?
It is, yeah, street lighting or
Are
anything?
they just gonna be like,
I mean, is it gonna be
Yeah, exactly.
completely dark? Because, I mean, I know over by, it's dark over by you.
He likes it that
He
way.
likes it
I
that
know,
way.
I know, but I mean, I'm
Yeah,
just,
I don't know,
I'm
maybe,
just
and
throwing
I
it
don't know
out.
if there'd be
I mean,
like lamp posts
I don't know,
going
is
up
it-
the driveways or something, I
I'm
don't
sure I'm
know.
sure the residents, once they'll,
Yeah,
yeah, no,
It
that's
would
a
be.
actually good, very good question, Sal, because, you know, that's light trespass and all that into what's now 13 acres, and now you've got homes that are going to be going up, that's a very good question.
And people also walk down, well, I'm just saying, people do walk. And I would imagine this here is gonna be like a little circle in there, and people probably will walk in there. I'm just bringing that up.
One comment that was made with a fellow further up on the Bozenkill that I know, across the street from there, that whole development, those
Indian Maiden?
Indian Maiden did not want construction vehicles
Right.
Yeah.
parking like on their street, you know, that kind of thing. That was one of the requests, I think, that was made,
Very good.
you
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
not to, you know,
Yeah.
have the construction
good, Barb,
vehicles
thank
go in. And the, you know, the fellow that are, you know, the fellows or ladies that are working, you know, not to be parking all over the place.
mm-hmm,
So that may come up. I don't know.
okay.
Just a thought.
well, I think,
Good thought.
because that was right along, that's the Romansky project?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think because that was right along the Bozenkill, I mean, you're gonna have,
Right.
you're gonna have, like they said, the keyholes and everything going back in. So once that's developed, I'm sure everybody's
Yeah,
gonna be
we'll
in
be
the
back
back.
in, yeah.
I don't think anybody, and
Yeah.
I'm just saying, that's
Yeah.
just my
Yeah.
perception.
Yeah,
it was
I think
brought
you're
up
right,
before.
because, you know, if the first house to go in, you're gonna have to build the driveway going in for
Right.
that. And it's gotta have to be, you know, substantial enough to, you
I
know,
don't think
to
anybody would be parking on.
be able to have trucks go in and out there without destroying it.
Well, we can require, you know, that the construction vehicles won't be blocking
I
or,
think
you know,
that's what we have to
parking
do
on,
with the other.
yeah, certainly they won't be parking on Western, they can't,
We never
you
heard
know.
anything.
But
Because I did go
cross
through the
that bridge when
inspect-
we come to it.
Rose says he'll get everything ready in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Ro Andres, he works for me, he's the project manager on this, so
Oh, good.
I give you his phone number and not mine.
Do you wanna,
Right down the road too.
you wanna get
Yeah.
his name, Ginger?
Yeah, can you say your name and your phone number?
Of course, my name is Rolando Andres, Gilland native, but live here in Altamont. Telephone number
Yeah,
is 518-269-9609.
9609. Okay, can you spell your name for me?
Sure, it's Rolando. Last name is Andres, Andres.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, now you got him and I don't.
I have
James,
your
do you
number.
have anything else?
Nothing else, no.
No one has anything else?
I'm good.
Do you have any questions?
I don't, do you have any
I
questions?
guess I'd just like to say, like, I've spoke to at least half the neighbors, but there's enough land there that the neighbors who have reached out to me, I'm more than reasonable about making a lot line adjustment or doing whatever makes them happy and in a good situation, so I feel confident, short of them just not wanting something in their backyard, that we can do things between the board and myself willing to make that happen.
And that's, you know, that's kind of what I was saying is, you know, let's get all the questions out there now. Let's get the long-form EAF done. That addresses a lot of concerns that a resident might have,
Yep, you're right.
so. Well, if nobody has anything else, could we have a motion to approve the concept plan? Not approving the development, we're not approving anything other than what we see here. And that's with any notes that we need, we require on the next, on the preliminary plan.
Yep.
I make that motion.
Laura, second?
I'll second that.
Bob? Roll call, please, Ginger?
I'm sorry, can you just say what the motion is again?
To approve the concept plan.
Okay, roll call. Board Member Freeman.
Yes.
Okay, Board Member Litton.
No.
Okay?
Board Member Mulfelder.
Approve.
Board Member Ramirez.
Approved.
Board Member Sullivan. Oh, sorry, you're the alternate. Board Member Kissam.
Approved.
Okay, and Chairperson Hess.
Approved. Did you get it?
No, approved, yeah.
It's Murphy's Law.
It's fine.
So, you know, it's-
Okay, thank you.
Again, you know, just approving conceptually what we're
Yes.
seeing, it's
Oh,
not
yes.
approving
Yeah.
anything going.
Steve, I live in your old house.
So if we were to meet, it
You
would
do?
be October 25th,
Yep,
would be the next
On
meeting.
Maple Avenue?
yes,
Oh, okay.
yeah, been there 17 years. Your mom had sold it to a young couple that I think were only there for maybe
14
a
days,
year
yep.
and a half.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I bought it in 2005.
Oh, so you're Barb
Yeah,
then? Yeah.
yeah. And,
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
We're not done yet,
don't
Board.
even, yeah, the Pexel looking for me a week later, I know. We kind of did the whole inside, just the dining room, I did winter red dining room, so. I've got a painter there now, just because it needs it. And a carpenter coming in, one of the side doors on the barn is totally rotted away. And just, you know, there's some boards, so he's coming in next week, so. Where's your mother living?
Can we?
Oh, okay,
My brother lives down
I'll do it.
in Brevard, North Carolina.
okay. She
Hey,
was
Barb.
down there for a while.
She's been down there.
We're not done yet.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
She appeared at my house, but I don't think I know.
Does anybody have any other business that they'd like to discuss? The board?
Yes, cruising by just this past Sunday, Donato on Altamont Boulevard has still not painted any lines on the parking lot.
Oh,
Gary? Yeah, definitely,
Okay?
so,
definitely. What, did we give him a date that he had to do that by, though?
it would be in the
I
minutes.
would not recall
think.
that.
I can tell you.
It might be, though, in the,
It might,
in the minutes.
you know,
well, not only in the minutes, but it might be like part of the
I
whereas.
know that I
well,
asked,
the
but-
resolution.
that it was gonna be done per se, but there was no, when I reread this, I didn't see a time factor.
We'll mention it to Gary.
Yeah.
So, did you get that, Ginger? Okay. One other thing that I have, and this is kind of officially, unofficially, but
Don't go there.
I'm gonna throw Danny under the bus here.
No.
Just in case, you know, I like to have, again, my i's dotted, my t's crossed. In the event that for some meeting, if I don't show up, we're gonna have Danny facilitate.
Right.
But it would be with the longest-serving member of the board, if I recall. Who takes over?
Is it, yeah.
No, it's,
Isn't it?
thanks, Troy. No, it's whoever, you know, Carrie appoints to, I mean, there's no official secondary, you know, person, but it happened, and I don't know if you were our secretary then, but it happened with Tim, and he didn't show up one night, and we were kind of like, what do we do? You know, what do we do? And I don't want to do that, you know, so as long, you know, Danny was the chairperson of the zoning board, so I think it would fall to him, and I think he
Okay,
accepted.
I have no objections, but I don't want to be stepped on. The paperwork and the reorganization of the board, and we approved. I think in there was, it would step down to the next longest serving member, but you can look into
It-
that.
I'll have to check the percentage.
Okay?
Well, that might have been though if I resign.
No, in absence.
I don't think so. But, yeah, we'll check that.
Okay, so,
We'll check
but
that.
thank you very much for your vote of confidence.
Forget it, I'm
I
pulling
have
it
a-
back now.
I approve.
I have a question, talking about John Donato's property. We had talked about who was responsible for telling the renters about the floodplain. I think Simon had brought that
Yeah,
up at the
yeah.
meeting.
The answer is we
And were we going to ask Allison?
Yeah,
Did ever,
Yeah, there's nothing that we can do past tense for the people that are there now.
Right.
It is up to the landlord.
Okay.
To tell them that they're in a floodplain, and, you know, I would imagine any renter's insurance would ask that question.
True.
You know, and I can't imagine anybody not having renter's insurance these days. But yeah, Allison, you know, I asked her, actually, we were on the phone the other day, and she said, yeah, there's really nothing you can do now. Going forward, if he has wants to do anything there, it's fine to mention it, but it's, you know, not really up to us to contact the people that are there now.
And so would Gary talk to him about the lines in the driveway?
Well, that's what Danny just said, those lines haven't been painted yet.
I don't see anything here in the minutes where we actually gave it, it was totally discussed, but I'm not seeing where there was actually a timeline given, so maybe a reminder is due. I'm not seeing it as in yet, but, yeah.
Yeah, I
There was
don't.
no time given, it maybe just he needs to be reminded to get it done if it hasn't been
And there was
done.
no, excuse me, there was no signs for handicap parking?
It was the lines that he needed to get down, because it was repaved and then,
Right.
I don't know if that guy, has anyone noticed him in that store yet? He hasn't changed out the
I
sign.
haven't even, yeah.
I've
said-
seen him coming
Have you?
in
He
to
said
work on it.
mid-October, I think, is when he had planned to.
Okay, anything else under other business?
Nope, just the minutes.
So I think we're kind of discussing the minutes now. James, you were on that, at that meeting. Do you have anything from the minutes from that meeting? No. And I know, Laura, you can still, you know, chime in here because you read the minutes, so. I didn't have anything. Yeah, okay, yeah, here it is about the sign. Is there handicap spots and is there signage for those? And John said there was. I said, there is? And he said, no, there was under the driveway. We had the driveway painted blue.
Well, I think what he meant was is they were painted blue and then they did whatever over it and then sealed it, so it's gotta be,
So that still
that's
has
the
to be
way I
done.
took it.
Yeah, okay. Other than that, everybody okay with the minutes?
Yes.
I just have one piddly thing. Is this transcript, I see rev.com?
Yeah, when there is a public hearing, then we can have rev.com do the actual, because the public hearing's going to be very long. So this was a public hearing, and so they did the initial, and then I went through it to review it and make sure that it was in line with.
So you listen to the auditory and sort of, not beating on anybody, but the word "yeah" was used that many times by several people?
You wouldn't believe how many times.
Oh, dear.
I usually
Thanks a
take
lot,
out
Gary.
all kinds of stuff.
Okay,
So,
no,
yeah.
you're good, you're good.
I found the conversations with John Donato were a little confusing, and some of the sentences, I think, were cut short. It just, it wasn't flowing. It was,
I mean, that's what
It's
that's
hard because in a public hearing, it's supposed to be word for word.
it's supposed to be verbatim.
yeah,
Yep.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Only a public hearing.
Okay.
And that's the only time that we can have it transcribed as well, is a public hearing, not just our normal meetings.
So when it's not a public hearing, I clean all that stuff up.
No problem.
But,
Good. No, I think it's smart to do that with a public hearing. I think we might get some people complaining. I may be wrong, but be interesting to see when people, people show up.
That remains to be seen.
Yeah.
All right, if no one has anything else, could I have a motion to approve the minutes from June 28, 2022?
Motion to approve.
Motion.
I'll
Laura,
second.
second?
Okay, so I'm sorry, who's approving, Laura?
Yes.
Okay, so Laura, 1, and 2. Okay, so I'm just gonna go down the table. So Barb,
I approve.
okay, great. And, Bob,
Approved.
They took away the
and
clock.
Simon,
Approve.
Just makes me-
and Laura,
Approve.
Dale,
Approved.
and Dave,
Approved.
and Deb.
In favor.
Great, and-
Okay, then the best one of all, could I have a motion to adjourn the meeting, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Barb,
Make that
second.
motion.
Barb, to adjourn, okay.
Second.
Simon?
Simon, second. Thank you. All right, so let's go down the table again. So Barb,
Yes.
Bob,
Approved, I'm sorry. Daydreaming, I'm sitting here.
Simon,
Approved.
Laura,
approve.
Dale,
Approved.
Dana.
Approved. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
We'll let you know, definitely, Ginger will get the word out, and Gary will get the word out if we do receive the information in time, and if we do, it'll be October 25th.
Matt stood me,
Okay.
Matt stood me.
You're kidding?
No. Paul did?